14 years ago, I literally dreamed about the proposal that I got the next day. Anybody that knows me knows that 4th of July weekend is one of my absolute favorite weekends of the whole year. My whole family gets together. It's just a great day all around. And so at this time, my husband and I were dating for about 2-ish years at that time, 2.5 years. But then the day of the party, which was today, 14 years ago on July 2nd, I woke up from a dream where he had proposed to me at said 4th of July party and the day of that same party. And I remember waking up being so upset because I was just so, like, in my dream, I was just like, man, that was the perfect dream. I remember telling my mom, like, Mom, it was the perfect dream. It was like the perfect proposal. Everybody was there. I got to celebrate with my family and all of these things. Meanwhile, she knew that he was proposing that night and had to kind of steer me off course. She had to kind of like, it's going to happen eventually. I know you guys are going to be together, all of those things. And I knew that too, but to have the dream the night before and then for me to have to then convince myself that it wasn't going to happen so I wouldn't weirdly be disappointed about a dream not coming true later that day was interesting for me. And I remember telling like my cousins about it, and I even told Scott about it, my husband, and he told me that he was freaking out when I told him, and that makes sense because what are the odds? And so the whole day, I had to keep continuing myself because little things kept happening where I'm like, oh man, maybe this is actually going to happen. But I didn't want to be mad at the end of the night, like I said. And so I had to keep telling myself, like, no, Brittany, you're reading too much into things. Like, it's like, don't convince yourself of something just to make yourself upset later. So that's what I did. I kept convincing myself otherwise. And then later in the evening, my mom started getting everybody, like, she started taking pictures of, like, couples. Like, she took pictures of my grandparents, and then she took pictures of my aunts and uncles, and those types of things. And she was like, all right, Brittany and Scott, come up. And this was right before fireworks, and so I took my picture, and I started to walk away, and that's when he said, hold on, there's actually something that I wanted to ask you. And I remember looking over at my mom, like, am I dreaming again? Or is this really happening? Then he asked me to marry him, and of course I started crying, and I said yes because it was literally the proposal of my dreams. I'm very close with my family, so having my family there was so important for me and so special for me. And I will never forget that day. It was just one of my favorite memories. And there's so many times where like I wish I could relive that and feel that moment for the first time again because it was so special for me. He is truly somebody that came into my life and changed it for the better. And so I will always talk about him. I will always post about him, and I don't care who is tired of hearing it because I am madly in love with him, and I love telling the story because, for real, what are the odds?